Marhaba everyone and welcome to this video by 360arabic.com. Today we will be presenting a general overview of the Arabic language alphabet. Underline general. This is going to be a general introduction. These videos are meant to be a companion set to the ebook, The Letters and Sounds of Arabic. You can download this ebook for free from 360arabic.com or by using the link in the description below. Without further ado, let's talk about the Arabic alphabet. Now, first good news is that Arabic has an alphabet. It's alphabetic. Why is that good news? Well, it is because you know now that by using a definite or a finite set of letters and sounds, you can generate an infinite number of utterances, unlike some other languages that uses pictographs or symbols, like Chinese, for example. And so that's news number one. Good news number two is that a lot of this alphabet is made up of sounds and strokes that you're already familiar with. So the learning curve should be there, but it shouldn't be too hard to manage. So here is the Arabic language alphabet. These are the 28 letters that make up that alphabet. Aren't they beautiful? And so we are going to look into these into a lot more detail later, but now this is a general video. For your information now, when we write the Arabic language, we are going to use attached letters like what you're used to in scripting the language in writing cursive English or French or Spanish, for example. And so these are just general fonts that show how Arabic is typed. You do not need to worry about any of this right now. This is just a general introduction. And so fonts such as this one right here and this one right here are more appropriate for writing articles, books, long passages, long paragraphs, as they aid reading. These, on the other hand, are more useful for display applications like in billboards or in electronic media, for example. Now, as you write and as you use the Arabic language alphabet, you are going to be using recurrent shapes. You're not going to be introduced to shapes that are consistently different from one another to the point where learning them will be a challenge. On the other hand, you can see here that some of the recurrent shapes are recyclable, if you will, or that you can use again. Look at this set, for example, or this one, or this one, or this set of four. You can already identify the basic shapes and strokes of Arabic that you are going to use and you're going to reuse to reproduce further letters. And so writing Arabic is not going to entail the learning of 28 symbols that are vastly different from one another. Rather, these symbols are going to be recycling the same fundamental strokes. And therefore, you're going to learn about 14 general shapes rather than 28. Now, in terms of sounds, you will notice that the Arabic language uses a lot of the sounds you're already familiar with as a speaker of English. If you happen to speak other languages with new sounds, the odds are that Arabic is going to have some of those sounds too. Now, the majority of the sounds you'll encounter in Arabic will be sounds you're familiar with. That's great news too. And so if you look at this particular screen, the sounds in blue are sounds that you already produce if you speak English. And so you can see that's the majority of the sounds right there. Learning the Arabic language, you will also encounter sounds that are close to ones you already know and you can already produce. These sounds are 5, and these sounds require a little bit of adjustment or a little bit of modification from your part. Let's look at a couple of examples. Here, this is the sound ra. Ra. Ra is very close to the sound you would use in read or write, except that it's rolled. It's close to what you would pronounce in Spanish, the R in Spanish. So you have to roll the R's. This is something that you can learn in no time pretty much, but it is something that you might have to work on a little bit. This is another example. That's saw. Saw. Saw is a thicker version of se, like see. In English, it's closer to something like he saw, or the saw. And that's a thicker version of s. So these are sounds that you just have to pay attention to. They're slightly thicker than sounds you already know. So this is something we are going to revisit as we look at each letter set separately. Now, this is a set that would present a sort of a steeper learning curve. These are sounds that it is likely that you do not produce if you speak English, if you don't speak other languages like Urdu, Farsi, Pashto, Hebrew. You wouldn't be able to produce these sounds, and these require some work and some exercise. But it's nothing to worry about, and their number is really tiny. We're looking at 5 of them only. Let's look at some examples. This is the ha sound. That's the letter ha. It produces the sound ha, ha. And this is kh, kh. This is ah, ah. R, r, q, q. We will be revisiting these letters and sounds, and we'll be looking at them far closer than we're doing right now. Let's now take a look closely at these letters and try to listen for the sounds that these letters produce. You will notice that I don't focus a lot on the names of the letters. I focus a little bit more on the sounds they create. And this is for a reason, because we don't want to be learning a lot of things at the same time. I just want you to identify the sounds that these letters produce. You will have plenty of opportunity to learn the names of these letters. So I'll be mentioning the names of letters here and there, but I'm not going to be very systematic about that at the beginning. So let's look at the alphabet. This is the letter Alif, and this is the sound E. E. This is Ba. B. B. This is Ta. T. T. This is Fa. F. F. This is Jim. J. J. This is Ha. H. H. This is Kha. Kh. Kh. This is Dal. D. D. This is Val. V. V. This is Ra. 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 This is Zay. Z. Z. This is Sin. S. S. This is Shin. Sh. Sh. This is Sad. Sa. Sa. This is Dad. Da. Da. This is Ta. 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 This is Vad. Va. Va. This is Ain. A. A. This is Ghain. R. R. This is Fa. F. F. This is Qaf. Q. Q. This is Kaf. K. K. This is Lam. L. L. This is Mim. M. M. This is Nun. N. N. This is Wow. Wa. Wa. This is Ha. H. H. And finally, this is Ya. 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 So looking at these letters, we will be moving forward with other more advanced topics. We'll be looking at these letters in more detail. We'll be examining the sounds in more detail. And we'll be discussing some important aspects of learning the Arabic language alphabet. This was a general introduction to the letters and sounds of Arabic. Don't forget to download the free book. The link is included in the description below. You can also go to 360arabic.com and download the ebook for free. Thank you very much for your attention. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this content with your friends. مع السلامة.